What if the silence isn't an ending, but the most profound conversation your souls have ever begun? Let's be honest, that first encounter felt less like a meeting and more like a remembering, a dizzying, heart-stopping homecoming that rearranged your very DNA. You knew, with a certainty that defied all logic, that you had found your counterpart. So when the distance began to grow, when the connection frayed and the silence descended, it felt like a cruel betrayal by the universe itself. That aching void, that constant whispering question of why, can become its own kind of prison. We've all been there, tracing the memories like faded ink, wondering what you did wrong, if you were ever truly seen at all. It's a special kind of heartbreak, one that conventional advice can't even begin to touch. But what if I told you that this painful chasm is not a sign of a failed connection, but the clear, undeniable evidence of its sacred purpose? What if this separation is the most important, meticulously designed, and loving phase of the entire journey? This isn't about cosmic punishment or a test of your worthiness. This is about divine architecture. The universe isn't tearing you apart, it's giving you the necessary blueprint and the solitary, focused space to build the unshakable foundation upon which a true, eternal union can actually stand. The silence, then, is not empty. It is fertile. It is the sacred ground where two individual masterpieces are being forged, not so they can be fused into one, but so they can finally stand together in breathtaking, sovereign wholeness. The reason this path feels so bewildering is because you're trying to read the final chapter while the most crucial parts of the story are still being written in the quiet of your own soul. So, let's set aside the fear for a moment. Let's explore the hidden spiritual mechanics at work in this sacred pause and discover why walking this path alone for a time is the ultimate act of co-creation. If you're ready to see the map that explains the wilderness, then pull up a chair and let's begin. Let us delve into the beautiful, terrifying, and ultimately sacred mystery of the separation. You see, the initial meeting with your twin flame isn't just a meeting. It's a cosmological event inside your own being. It's like two stars who have been dancing alone in the vast cold darkness for eons, suddenly colliding. And in that collision, there is an explosion of light, of heat, of remembering. It's euphoric. It's home. And in that first, blinding flash, the boundaries of where you end and they begin simply vaporize. You become a single, glorious, and chaotic nebula of shared energy. This is the secret so few talk about. That initial union is actually a state of spiritual fusion. And fusion, while it feels like bliss, is not the same as wholeness. It's a beautiful catastrophe. Let me explain it this way. Imagine you are a master violinist and your twin flame is a master cellist. When you first meet, you don't play a duet. No, in your ecstasy as you try to play the same instrument at the same time. The result? Not a symphony, but a cacophony. A single, overwhelmed instrument screaming under the pressure of two sets of hands. Two intense energies, two desperate souls trying to become one note. It's too much. The wood groans. The strings fray. This isn't harmony, it's a recipe for breaking. And so, one of you, instinctively, has to let go. This is the runner. It's not a rejection of you. It's a primal, spiritual survival instinct against the terrifying overwhelm of this energetic entanglement. They aren't running from your soul. They are running from the unbearable pressure of the fused field you've both created. And you, the one who seems to be left in the silence, you are holding the instrument, feeling the ghost of their hands, hearing the echo of the note you are trying to play together. You call this pain. I call it your sacred assignment. This separation is the universe's profound act of mercy. It is giving you the one thing you need most, the space to remember how to play your own song, with your own hands, on your own instrument, to find the note that is uniquely, irrevocably yours, not the note you play for your parents, or your ex, or for society, not even the note you think you should play to make your twin flame stay, but the fundamental frequency of your essence, your soul's signature. This is the grueling, glorious work of differentiation. It's not about moving on, it's about moving into the sovereignty of your own spirit, learning to generate your own light, your own warmth, your own music, so brilliantly that you no longer need to borrow theirs. You become a sun, not a planet in need of a central star. And here's the funny, almost ironic part of the divine punchline. The very thing you crave, that reunion, becomes possible only when you no longer need it for your survival. When you can stand as your own complete pillar of light and can envision them standing as theirs, without collapsing into a puddle of neediness. The fusion was a desperate attempt to be whole through another. The separation forces you to become whole through yourself. Then, and only then, can you come together as two master musicians, each with their own instrument, their own sheet music, their own practiced skill, and compose a symphony that heaven itself would pause to hear. The separation wasn't the end of your duet. It was the necessary, solitary practice room where you each learned your part. And the most fascinating part? This entire process of forging your sovereignty is what quietly, miraculously prepares you to handle the very thing we'll talk about next. The hidden karmic contracts and ancestral echoes that this connection is destined to heal. Not just for you, but for your entire lineage. But that beautiful soul is a story for another moment. And if you're feeling a quiet resonance with these words, a stirring in your heart that recognizes this truth, then you are already deep in the work. To understand the next layer of this sacred preparation, the profound cleansing of your karmic blueprint, continue on. Let us journey deeper into the quiet, hallowed ground of your own ancestry. This is where the real magic happens, in the silent echoes that have shaped you long before you ever took your first breath. You know, we often think of our twin flame connection as something entirely new, a spark lit in the timeless void. And it is. But the moment that divine spark touches down into this earthly realm, it doesn't land on a blank, pristine canvas. Oh no, it lands in the middle of a battlefield, a garden, a ruin, a landscape shaped by generations. You're not just you. You are the living, breathing culmination of your entire bloodline. You carry within you not just your own joys and sorrows, but the unwept tears of your grandmother, the silenced dreams of your grandfather, the abandoned hopes and fortified walls of every soul that came before you, whose choices, in ways you can barely perceive, wrote the subconscious script of your life. Think of it like this. Your spiritual frequency, that brilliant note we talked about, is a pure crystal tone. But as it descends into your physical being, it must pass through the filter of your lineage, a filter etched with old wounds, outdated vows. I will never let myself love like that again, and patterns of lack, fear, or unworthiness. This filter distorts the pure tone. It adds static. It creates harmonics of pain you mistakenly think are your own. Now imagine your twin flame's pure tone trying to harmonize with yours, but what it's actually meeting is this distorted signal, this ancestral echo. The resulting chord isn't heavenly, it's dissonant, triggering, and strangely familiar in its ache. It feels like home, but the wrong kind of home. The home of your ancestors' unresolved struggles. This beloved soul is the second great purpose of the separation. It is your sacred assignment of karmic disentanglement. The universe isn't just giving you space to find yourself. It is giving you the solitary, focused time to become a spiritual archaeologist of your own soul. You are being handed a gentle brush and a soft light and asked to gently, compassionately excavate the layers of your own being. You are to sift through the soil of your inheritance and ask, is this mine? Is this pain truly my own creation? Or is it a relic I agreed to carry for a line that simply didn't know how to put it down? This is why the triggers in a twin flame connection can be so utterly primordial. It's not just that he left the dishes in the sink. It's that his action somehow taps into a 200-year-old story in your lineage about men being unreliable providers or women being relegated to servitude. It's not just that she seems emotionally distant. It's that her silence resonates with a deep, familial fear of abandonment that has been passed down like a dreaded heirloom. The twin flame connection, in its infinite intelligence, acts as a supreme highlighting pen, illuminating every single crack in your foundation, not to shame you, but to show you exactly what needs to be repaired before you can build something eternal. The separation is the renovation period. It's the time when the beloved tenants, you and your twin, have temporarily moved out so the essential, dusty, and disruptive work can be done. You cannot install new plumbing for unconditional love, while the old lead pipes of ancestral sacrifice are still in the walls. You cannot rewire the entire structure for joy, while the frayed circuits of generational trauma are still live. This is solitary, nitty-gritty work. It's you on your knees, not in prayer, but with a wrench, learning to shut off the old, rusty valves of patterns that no longer serve you. It's you in the attic of your soul, deciding which stories to keep and which to finally, gratefully, burn as sacred offering. You are not just healing for you. You are healing for them, for your mother, her father. You are the chosen one, the one with the consciousness and the courage to say, the buck stops here. This pain ends with me. And in doing so, you are not betraying your family. You are liberating them. You are creating a new, clean, karmic slate. When you and your twin finally reunite, you will not be bringing the ghosts of your past into your new home. You will have given them a proper burial with love and honors. You will meet, finally, as the new founders of a new lineage, one built not on lack and fear, but on conscious choice and divine love. And the most breathtaking part? When you do this work, you aren't just rewriting your own future. You're altering the very fabric of what's possible for those who will come after you. But that, dear architect of your destiny, is a revelation for another time. And if you feel a strange sense of responsibility mixed with hope, a quiet knowing that this work is your true legacy, then you are hearing the call. To understand how this cleansing completes the final preparation for a union that can truly change your world, the conversation is just beginning. So here you are, standing in the quiet aftermath of the storm, holding the blueprint of your own becoming. And perhaps you're waiting for a grand finale, a cosmic fanfare that signals the end of this arduous journey. But the most profound truth, the one that truly sets you free, is this: the separation was never the obstacle to your union. It was the very process of creating its foundation. Think of it not as a pause, but as a profound act of co-creation with the divine. While you were here, diligently learning your own melody and clearing the ancestral halls, your twin flame was engaged in the same sacred labor in their own corner of the universe. You were not two halves waiting to be glued back together. You were two master architects, each working from the same divine blueprint, built in two self-sustaining, glorious structures, separate, strong, and complete unto themselves. The reunion, then, is not about collapsing into one another. It is the breathtaking moment when these two sovereign structures, these two grand monuments to individual healing, are revealed to have been designed all along to form a single, magnificent cathedral. A sanctuary whose strength lies in the integrity of each individual pillar. This path asks you to make a radical shift from seeking a destination to embodying a state of being. The longing you feel is not a hole to be filled by another, but the compass of your own soul pointing you toward the wholeness you are destined to embody. The love you have been seeking externally is the very essence you are learning to generate internally until you become a self-sustaining ecosystem of grace, power, and compassion. When you finally achieve this, something beautiful happens. The desperate need for the union simply evaporates. It is replaced by a profound, peaceful readiness for it. And in that readiness, you become a magnetic force for the miracle. Do not mistake the silence for absence. Every moment of this sacred pause has been filled with purpose. You have been on a hero's journey, not to slay a dragon, but to lovingly integrate every shadow, to honor every ghost in your lineage, and to reclaim every fragmented piece of your spirit. You have been learning the most important lesson of all, that you are and always have been utterly complete. The love you share with your twin flame will not complete you. It will celebrate you. It will be the infinite echo of the wholeness you have already forged within. This journey is not a test of your patience, but a testament to your power. You are not being prepared for someone else. You are being prepared to meet the version of yourself that can hold a love this vast, this fearless, and this eternal. Trust the divine choreography. Every step, every stumble, every moment of heartache, and every burst of insight has been a necessary movement in this dance. The music is still playing. Can you feel it? It's the rhythm of your own heart, now in perfect time with the universe. And just when you think you understand the entire map, the journey reveals its final, most beautiful secret: that the destination was never a place at all, but a new way of seeing. To discover what awaits when you finally lay down the map and trust the territory of your own transformed heart, well, that is the greatest adventure of all.